Good morning. Welcome back to yet another section of informatics. Today we are going to start our sixth module. Sixth module is computer localization. Through this module we are going to find in detail what it is localization, then using computers in the local language, language packs, character encoding, fonts, Malayalam keyboard layout issues and standards. Finally, we should speak about Malayalam software tools. These are the main topics we should meet through this module 6, computer localization. So, let us start with localization. What is localization? Localization, often abbreviated in the numeronym LION, the 10th being a way of replacing the middle 10 letters of the word. So its abbreviation is localization, its abbreviation is LION. Then it is the process of adapting a product or service to a particular language, culture and desired local look and feel. It is localization. Simply we can say that the process of adapting software for a particular country or region is called localization. I repeat, the process of adapting a software for a particular country or region is called localization. Okay. So I think all of you got the idea about what it is localization. It is the process of adapting a product or service to a particular language, culture and desired local look and feel. Okay. Then localization in detail, it is simply a case of translating instructions and text on packaging into the language of the intended country. It is a way of marketing product to the target audience of the country. Localization integrates the product into the both language and the culture of the intended country. So actually localization, it is mainly focusing the way of marketing the product to the target audience of the particular country. Then actually it integrates the product into the both language and the culture of the intended country. Okay. So if localization has been successfully implemented, then a Swiss or French purchaser will now own a product that they will perceive as have been developed and produced in their own country. The product may have originated and been exported from America, but the foreign purchaser will assume that it is a product of their own country. For example, a person already purchased a product from Swiss or French. Definitely they should feel that it is their own product, because with the help of localization they are familiar with the product, because it should make a clear idea about the language and culture of the particular country. Okay. So if the customer starts to use that particular product, he or she should have the feeling that it is their own product. Okay. So a product must be highly attuned to the expectation of the target audience and those who influence that audience. So a product must be make aware to the expectation of the target audience and those who influence that audience. So a product should have the capacity to satisfy the needs of the customers. So it should have the capacity to make aware of the target audience. Then only the particular product can influence the that audience. In localizing a product, in addition to idiomatic language translation, such details as times, zones, money, national holidays, local color sensitivities, product or service names, gender roles and geographic examples must all be considered. So, how we should plan the localization? Definitely, it should relate on idiomatic language translations. Then details relating sounds, money, national holidays, local color sensitivities, product or service names, gender roles and geographic examples. All these factors they should consider very seriously, because all these things have the power to influence the product. Okay, so it is very important. To be successful, localization must be particular attention to the age range, language and subculture of the audience. Then when we are speaking about what are the main factors we should concentrate, again we can give three things: age range, language, subculture of the audience. These are the main factors. When we are launching a product in a country, definitely we should give more importance to the age range, language and subculture of the audience. Okay. A successfully localized service or product is one that appears to have been developed within the local culture. So, when we are launching a product relating these things, age, language and subculture of the audience, there is no doubt it is the customers should accept it immediately. They should get the appreciation from those audience. Okay. Then ideally a product or service is developed so that localization is relatively easy to achieve. For example, by creating technical illustrations for manuals in which the text can easily be changed to another language and allowing some expansion room for this purpose. This enabling process is termed internationalization, often abbreviated to the numeronym I18N. Okay, so now we are going to speak about what is internationalization. I told you, by creating technical illustrations for manuals in which the text can easily be changed to another language and allowing some expansion room for this purpose. This enabling process is termed internationalization. So definitely it is very important. The particular text can easily be changed to another language of the particular country. So that's why we should allow some expansion room for this purpose. This enabling process is called is termed internationalization. I think all of you got the point clearly. Okay, so an internationalized product or service is therefore easier to localize to various language and regions without engineering changes. So I told you it is very important to convert the text into language, another language and culture of that particular country, that it is localization. So when we are creating such technical illustrations for manuals in which the text can easily be changed to another language and following some expansion room for this purpose, This enabling process is termed internationalization, and this internationalized product or service is therefore easier to localize to various languages and regions without engineering changes. Actually, with the help of this internationalization, they can easily localize to various languages and regions without any engineering changes. So, internationalization is very important in localization, because with the help of this they can change the language very easily without any engineering changes, and it is allowing some expansion room for this purpose. That's why this enabling process is termed as internationalization. Okay, then we are going to know about what it is globalization. Okay, what it is globalization? Then the process of first enabling a product to be localized and then localizing it for different national audiences is sometimes known as globalization. Okay, we already understood definitely there is a room for enabling a product, that it is internationalization. Then the process of first enabling a product to be localized and then localizing it for different national audience. When we are allowing this process of first enabling a product to be localized and then localizing it for a different national audiences is sometimes known as globalization. Okay, so all of you please take the page number 333. So you can see the globalization process. Okay, so we can see that first the product, then first they should think about the product, then after that product design, they started to design the product, then product development, according to that they started to develop the product, then product testing and quality assurance, that is very important. Then when they make a product, they started to testing and quality assurance, its short form is QA. So actually this stage we are calling it as internationalization. Okay, what are the main factors in internationalization? The product design, product development, and the product testing and quality. All these are coming under the phase 1. It is known as internationalization. In your textbook page number 333, it already given here with a picture. Okay, then we are going to speak about what it is localization through this picture representation. Okay, then after that phase 2, we are speaking about the phase 2, then we can see that when a product tested its quality assurance, after that product localization, then product localization, after that again local product testing and quality assurance. After localization of the product, again the product should go through the local product testing and quality assurance. Then local product marketing. After that, after the quality assurance, we can see the next stage, it is local product marketing. Okay, so these are the 3 steps includes in localization. Actually it is the phase 2. So total the internationalization plus localization, it is the part of globalization process. Okay, so through localization and internationalization, globalization process is done. I think all of you got the idea clearly. Once again I just go through the main points. The first topic is localization. Localization, it is the process of adapting a product or service to a particular language, culture and desired local look and feel. In simple way we can present it as the process of adapting a software for a particular country or a region is called localization. Okay, then we also speak about the example relating localization, and we already understood that it is a way of marketing the product to the target audience of the country. Then a product must be highly attuned to the expectation of the target audience and those who influence that audience. So how we can influence the target audience? It depends on the time zones, money, national holidays, local color sensitivities, product or service names, gender roles, graphic examples. All these are the main factors. Through these we can influence the target audience. When we are cut short this list, we can focus more on age range, language and subculture of the audience. So these are the main factors. Through these factors we can influence the target audience. After that we talked about what it is internationalization. I told you actually by creating technical illustrations for manuals in which the text can easily be changed to another language and allowing some expansion room for this purpose. This enabling process is termed internationalization. We already noticed that through that picture representation we already noticed that it is the first phase. In that phase they started to design the product, that it is product design, then product development. According to the design they started to develop the product. Then the third step is product testing and quality assurance. These three are the major steps in phase 1, that it is internationalization. Then internationalized product internationalized product or service is therefore easier to localize to various languages and regions without engineering changes. It is very helpful to convert the language to the particular country. Okay. Then after that we spoke about the globalization. Globalization is the process of first enabling a product to be localized and then localizing it for different national audience, in sometimes known as globalization. Actually it is the mixing of internationalization and localization. As the result we will get a globalization process. Then actually we already talked about the first phase, internationalization. Once again I want to speak about the second phase, localization. Through localization the first step is product localization, then local product quality testing and quality assurance. After that the third step is local product marketing. These three steps are involved in localization. It is the phase 2. So the phase 1 and phase 2 together make it is possible that it is globalization process. So I think with the picture given in your textbook, page number 333, you will get a clear idea about what it is globalization process. So through this first main topic we already understood what it is localization, what is the importance of localization, how we can influence the target audience. Then we already spoke about what it is internationalization, then what it is globalizations. These are the main points, main subtopics under the first main topic, localization. Okay. Then we are moving to the next topic, that it is using computers in local languages. Page number 333. Okay. Second topic, using computers in local languages. So information technology has been developing at a rapid speed. However, the number of computer users in India is but a small fraction of the entire population. In reason being the language divide. Even majority of the people in our country, they started to use computers because we can see that technology has been developing at a rapid speed. So, but at the same time we can see that computer users in India is but a small fraction of the entire population. So, what is the main reason behind it? Language divide, that is the main problem. They couldn't easily communicate in English, that is the barrier. So, about 5% of Indians population conduct business in English. The remaining 95% prefers their own regional language. Then that language barrier, we can see it in clear through this sentence. Actually, the 5% of Indians population conduct business in English. 95% prefers their own regional language. So, this disparity in language, this great difference in language is one of the main contributors to the digital divide. That is the main reason, because they couldn't use English language properly. Only 5% of people, they are using English language for their business. Rest of them, that means nearly 95% people, they are using their own regional language for their business. So, it is the disparity in language is one of the main contributors to the digital divide. Okay. So, one way of addressing this digital divide is to promote Indian language computing called Indic computing. It is very important. And what it is Indic computing? So, I think all of you got the idea about what it is digital divide. Disparity in language. Disparity in language means great difference in language. Disparity in language is one of the main contributors to the digital divide, because the people, they are using their own regional language for their business, because they don't know English language. So, it is the disparity in language is the one of the main contributors to the digital divide. So, one way of addressing this digital divide is to promote Indian language computing called Indic computer. So, how we can solve this digital divide? So, that is the way. Using the Indic computing method, we can solve the digital divide. So, how it is possible? One way of addressing this digital divide is to promote Indian language computing. That is Indian language computing. It is called Indic computing. Okay. It means computing in Indic. Computing means make sense in Indo-European languages, that it is Indian scripts and languages. It involves developing software in Indic scripts or languages, input methods, localization of computer applications, web development, database management, OCR, spell checkers, speech to text and text to speech application, etc. in Indian languages. So solving the digital divide, only one method, that it is promote Indian language computing, that is called Indic computing. It means computing in Indic, that is Indian scripts and languages. Okay. Then it is using how we can implement this Indic scripts. So Indic scripts, then using this Indic computing, using the localization of computer applications, web development, database management, OCR, spell checkers, speech to text and text to speech applications, etc. in Indian languages. Most of the Indic scripts nowadays use Unicode for working on computers and internet. So actually Indic scripts nowadays using Unicode. Unicode, it is a computing industry standard for the consistent representation and handling of text expressed most of the world's writing system. Okay, I repeat, Unicode. What it is Unicode? Unicode is a computing industry standard for the consistent representation and handling of text expressed in most of the world's writing system. Okay, Unicode, we should find it in detail in the fourth topic. Okay. So Indic scripts nowadays use Unicode for working on computers and internet. Actually Unicode, it is the representation and handling of text expressed most of the world's writing system. With the help of Unicode, we can translate the languages and culture with another country. Okay, so Indic scripts nowadays use Unicode for working on computers and internet. Then in Unicode 5.0, following Indian scripts have been encoded, which are the languages: Bengali script, Devanagari, Gujarati, Gurmukhi, Kannada, Limbu, Malayalam, Oriya, Sinhala, Sailoti Nagari, Tamil and Telugu. These are the languages available in Unicode. Okay, so with the help of Unicode, Indic scripts they can communicate with the other languages. Okay, then a lot of Indic computing projects are going on. They involve some government sector companies, some volunteer groups and individual people. This includes. Now we are going to speak about what are the Indic computing projects. I think all of you understood what it is Indic computing. What it is Indic computing? Actually we can see the digital divide in our country, because only 5% of people they are using English for their business. Rest of the people they are using their own regional language for their business, because they don't know English language. So it is the okay, digital divide. So to overcome this digital divide, to promote Indian language computing, that it is known as Indic computing. Indic computing means computing in Indic, that means Indian scripts and languages. So Indian scripts use Unicode, and with the help of Unicode they can work on computer and internet. I already told you which are the languages are available in Unicode: Bengali script, Devanagari, Gujarati, Gurumukhi, Kannada, Limbu, Malayalam, Oriya, Sinhala, Siloti Nagari, Tamil and Telugu. All these languages are available with the help of Unicode through Indic scripts. Now we are going to speak about Indic computing projects. Okay, so we can see that Indic computing projects we can divide it into two. One is government sector and the another one is volunteer groups. Okay, so first we can speak about government sector. In government sector we can see there are two projects relating Indic computing. One is TDIL and second one is CDAC. Okay, so I think all of you understood there are two types of Indic computing projects. One is government sector, second one is volunteer groups. Now we are going to speak about the government sector. In government sector we can see here there are two Indic computing projects. One is TDIL, the next one is CDAC. Okay, so we can speak about what it is TDIL. TDIL, it is the Department of Information Technology, India. Actually what it is the full form of TDIL? TDIL, its full form is the Department of Information Technology Development for Indian Languages. I'm sorry, its full form is Technology Development for Indian Language. It is very important. University is always asking the abbreviations, so you should study it well. TDIL, its full form is Technology Development for Indian Languages. Technology Development for Indian Languages. Okay. So TDIL, it is a government sector, it is a Indic computer project. Then what it is main objective? So objective is developing information processing tools and techniques to facilitate human machine interaction without language barrier, then creating and accessing multilingual knowledge resources, then integrating them to develop innovative user products and services. So its objectives, we can see that there are three objectives for this government sector. The first one is facilitate human machine interaction with without a language barrier. That it is the main objective. Through this TDIL, it should make our communication very easily. Okay, so it facilitate human machine interaction without language barrier. So it will remove the language barrier. It is the main objective of TDIL. That is the first objective. Then what it is the second objective? Creating and accessing multilingual knowledge resources. When we can remove the language barrier, through that we can creating and accessing multilingual knowledge resources. Then integrating, third objective is integrating them to develop innovative user products and services. So when we are remove the language barrier, when we get the new ideas about the creative and assessing multilingual knowledge resources, definitely according to that, by using all these things, we can integrate and develop innovative user products and services. Okay, so these are the main objectives of TDIL. Is it clear? We are speaking about Indic computing projects. I told you there are two projects are there. First one is government sector, next one is volunteer groups. The first one, government sector. In the government sector we can see there are two projects. First one is TDIL, its full form is Technology Development for Indian Languages. There are three objectives of TDIL, we already discussed it. Okay, then we can move to the second project, that it is CDAC. CDAC is an Indian based semi-government software company which is involved in developing language related software. Actually CDAC, it is a semi-government software. It is a semi-government software. It is involved in developing language related software. Actually it is the best known for developing InScript keyboard, the standard keyboard for Indian languages. It has also developed a lot of Indic language solutions including word processors, typing tools, text to speech software, etc. Okay, so these are the main points relating CDAC. What are the main points? Actually it is based on semi-government software. It is best known for developing InScript keyboard, the standard keyboard for Indian languages. Okay, it is best known for developing InScript keyboard, the standard keyboard for Indian languages. Then third main point is developed a lot of Indic language solutions including word processors, typing tools, text to speech software, etc. These are the three main points relating CDAC. Okay, so these are the two Indic computing projects relating on government sector. Now we are moving to what are the volunteer groups. Okay, we can see that there are four volunteer groups. First one is Sarovar, then Bharatiya 00 organization, Pinak, then Angur group. Okay, Pinak, I'm sorry that it is Pinak. Then first one Sarovar. Sarovar organizations in India, first portal to host projects under free or open source licenses. It is located in Trivandrum, India, hosted at Asianet Data Center. Sarovar organization is customized and installed and maintained by Linuxans as part of their community services and sponsored by River Valley Technologies. So underline all these points, it is very important. First one is Sarovar. It is the first, India's first portal to host projects under free or open source licenses. That is the speciality of Sarovar. It is the first portal, India's first portal to host projects under free or open source licenses. Then it is located in Trivandrum in India and hosted at Asianet Data Center. Actually this is customized and installed and maintained by underline Linuxans as part of their community services and sponsored by River Valley Technologies. Then we are going to speak about the second volunteer groups, that it is Bharatiya 00 organization. It is localized version of OpenOffice in Indian languages. It is a localized version of OpenOffice in Indian languages. I'm sorry, here in my PPT I forgot to add K. It is not Pina, actually it is Pinak. Okay, Pinak. Pinak is a non-government charitable society devoted to Indic language computing. That is the speciality. It's a non-government charitable society developed to Indic language computing. It works for software localization, developing language software, localizing open source software, and reaching online encyclopedias. In addition to this, Pinak works for educating people about computing, ethical use of internet and use of Indian languages on internet. These are the three main points. What are the three main points relating Pinak? First point, it is non-government charitable society developed to Indic language computing. Then the second point, it works for software localization, developing language software, localizing open source software, enriching online encyclopedias. These are the objectives of PNAC. More than that, it also works for educating people about computing, ethical use of internet and use of Indian languages on internet. Okay, so these are the main points relating PNAC. Okay, the last one is Ankur Group. Ankur Group is working toward supporting Bengali language on GNU or Linux operating system, including localized Bangla GUI, live CD, English to Bangla translator, Bangla OCR and Bengali dictionary, etc. So actually Ankur Group they are working and supporting for Bengali language. So relating Bengali dictionary, Bengali OCR, English to Bangla translator, whatever it is, relating Bengali language, we will get all the support and support from Ankur Group. So that it is the fourth projects relating volunteer groups. So I think all of you understood the government sector and volunteer groups in detail. These are the Indic computing projects. Indic computing projects are divided into two, government sector and volunteer groups. In volunteer groups there are two projects, TDIL. TDIL's full form is Technology Development for Indian Languages. Then second one is CDAC. Okay. Then about volunteer groups, we can see that there are four volunteer groups: Sarovar, Bharatiya 00 organization, PNAC, not PINA, PNAC. Then fourth one is Ankur Group. Okay. Then we can move to the next topic, that it is InScript. Actually, with the advent of Unicode, I think all of you remembered well, Indic computing, it works with the help of Unicode. So with the advent of Unicode, inputting Indic text on computer has become very easy. A number of methods exist for this purpose, but the main ones are. So with the help of Unicode, we can see that there are so many progressive changes happens in inputting Indic text. So we are going to speak about the some of the main points. First one is InScript. InScript, actually what it is InScript? Actually it is the standard keyboard for Indian languages. InScript is the standard keyboard for Indian languages and it developed by CDAC. I think all of you remembered well who is CDAC. Yes, it is a government sector. It is the Indic computing projects done by the government sector. Okay, so this InScript was developed by CDAC. Okay, then standardized by Government of India. Then nowadays it comes inbuilt in all major operating systems, including Windows, all the models 2000 XP, Vista 7 and also Linux and Macintosh. So I think all of you got the idea about InScript. InScript, it is the standard keyboard for Indian languages. It is developed by CDAC. Then it is standardized by Government of India. Then it comes inbuilt in all major operating systems, including Windows 2000 XP, Vista 7, Linux and Macintosh. Okay, then I want to speak about phonetic transliteration. It is also the main one in the advent of Unicode inputting Indic. Advent means arrival. I told you, with the arrival of Unicode, there are so many changes happened in inputting indic text. So first one, in script, we already went through it in detail. Then the next main one is phonetic transliteration. So this is a typing method in which, for instance, the user types Hindi text using Roman characters and it is phonetically converted to equivalent Devanagari text in real time. This type of conversion is done by phonetic text editors, word processors and software plugins. So we can easily change the language to one another. This convention is done by underline phonetic text editors, word processors and software plugins. Building upon the idea, one can use phonetic IME tools. IME, it means you please write the full form. IME, input method editor. IME, input method editor. Is it clear? Input method editor. So word processors and software plugins. Building upon the idea, one can use phonetic IME tools that allow indic text to be input in any application. So with the help of IME, they can allow indic text to be input in any application. Examples for phonetic transliteration: Baraha IME, Indic IME, Varamoli, Google Indic transliteration and Microsoft Indic language input tool. These are the example for phonetic transliteration. So I told you, actually we can change the language one to another. Okay, so this is done by phonetic text editors, word processors and software plugins. It is known as phonetic transliteration, and they are using phonetic IME tools that allow indic text to input in any application. IME's full form is input method editor. Okay, then we can see that there are two phonetic translations. Okay, we can see that here two phonetic transliterations. The one is fixed transliteration scheme based tools. The next one is dictionary based tools. Okay, phonetic transliteration, it is divided into fixed transliteration scheme based tools, then dictionary based tools. Okay, then what it is, fixed transliteration scheme based tools. Actually these fixed transliteration scheme based tools, they work using a fixed transliteration scheme to convert a text. From the word itself we can identify work using a fixed transliteration scheme to convert a text. Example: Indic IME, Varamoli, Baraha IME. These are the example for fixed transliteration scheme based tools. Main point, it is working using a fixed transliteration scheme to convert text. Okay, the next one is dictionary based tools. Dictionary based tools, actually they compare the word with a dictionary. It compare the word with a dictionary and then convert it to the equivalent words in the target language. So dictionary based tools, it works depending on dictionary. According to the equivalent word in dictionary, they started to translate into the target language. Okay, so some of the popular ones are Google Indic transliteration, Microsoft Indic language input tool and Quillpad. These are the examples for dictionary based tools. So we are speaking about what are the changes, what are the new changes happened when we start to use Unicode input Indic text. There are two techniques we started to use. One is InScript, the next one is phonetic transliteration. Phonetic transliteration we started to use two methods. One is fixed transliteration scheme based tools, next one is dictionary based tools. In the case of fixed transliteration scheme based tools, it works using a fixed transliteration. In the case of dictionary based tools, it works with the help of dictionary. Okay, so these are the two subdivisions in phonetic transliteration. Okay, so Windows had been supporting Unicode for a long time, and you can easily type Indian languages documents in Windows application. So in our today's class we already went through what it is localization, then how we can influence the target audience, what it is internationalization, and what it is globalization. Then we started to speak about the second topic, using computers in local language. In that we already talked about the Indic computing. Then we also speak about the Indic computing projects, government sector and volunteer groups. Then we also spoke about the advent of Unicode in inputting Indic text. Then we also went through InScript, phonetic transliteration. In phonetic transliteration we also spoke about fixed transliteration scheme based tools and dictionary based tools. So these are enough for today's class. So all of you please go through the textbook well. We will meet in the next class. Till then, take care. Thank you.